Hello all, welcome to Java Talent. In this tutorial, I'm going to cover Spring Web Flux reactive CRUD operations in the REST API. So let's understand first what is Spring Web Flux. So Spring Web Flux is a non-blocking reactive web programming for building a reactive scalable web applications. It is the part of Spring framework and it's built on top of the project reactor, which is reactive programming library for building the asynchronous or non-blocking application basically. So this is useful for the asynchronous call. So overall, Spring Web Flux is powerful tool for building reactive scalable web applications, and it is well suited for use in high concurrency environments. So in this one, there is the Mono and Flux. So Spring Web Flux majorly uses two publishers, Mono and Flux. So basically the Mono API allows producing only one value, like it returns 0 or 1 element, and Flux can be endless, means it can produce multiple values. So the Flux can return 0 to n elements. So what is the difference between Mono and Flux? So basically they are both implementations of the publisher interface. In simple, we can say that when we are doing something like a computation or making a request to a database or external service and expecting a maximum one result, then we should go for mono. But if we are expecting multiple results from our computation or database or external call, so then we can go for the flux. So programming models which is supported by Spring Web Flux is, so Spring Web Flux supports two types of programming models. So first is the traditional annotation based model with the entry controller and the test controller and the request mapping and other annotations that you have been using in the Spring MVC architecture. And second one is brand new functional style model, which is based on the Java 8 lambdas for routing and handling the request. So let's start developing the one simple WebFlux application. And in this application, I am going to use the database as MongoDB so that you can learn how can work with the MongoDB database as well. So that is basically NoSQL database. So if I am talking about SQL and NoSQL database, so then that is called SQL is the RDMS relational based database. But if I'm coming to the NoSQL, it is non-relational database or distributed database system. So in case of SQL, we can say that this is the fixed or dynamic schema, fixed or static schema. But in case of NoSQL database, it is the dynamic schema. So there is a lots of differences. Like in case of SQL, we can work with MySQL, PostgreSQL, Oracle, my MS SQL Server, etc. But in case of NoSQL database, there is MongoDB, GraphQL, HBase, Neo4j, Cassandra, etc. So in this today's sessions, I'm going to work with MongoDB as NoSQL database. So let's start and create simple CRUD operations I'm going to perform on this one. So let's start. So let me create one simple Spring Boot application, Spring Starter applications. Here I am going to use Spring Boot Web Flux example, and I'm going to take the type group ID as com.java talent Spring Boot Web Flux example. This is the descriptions, and this is the default package I'm going to take it. So here, what are the dependencies I need to add is, so let me add first MongoDB related. So Spring Data Reactive MongoDB, Spring Data Reactive MongoDB, and then WebFlux related WebFlux. It is Spring Reactive Web API, Web dependencies. And to generate the setter and getter and all, I am going to use Lombok API. and then I am going to use this API. So let's create the projects first. Then we will see if there is any other dependencies we can add later. So let's see how many dependencies it has been added. So open the pom.xml file here. So Mongo Reactive, it's been added. Fine. Starter WebFlux we have added, and Lombok API we have added. So with this three dependencies, we can start working on the project. So let me create some packages first, then I will go one by one. So let me create the simple, let me create first Java com.java talent dot controller or the controller class. Let me create a package for service class. Let me create the package for repository class. Next one will be entity class. I'm going to use the mapper as the data DTO class. I will create one DTO class. So let me create one DTO package for the return response object. So DTO class, and I think we are good. And let me create one mapper package as well to map the entity to DTO. So let me add the configurations for the MongoDB related. So that will be spring dot data dot MongoDB URI. MongoDB URI. So URI will be MongoDB colon slash localhost colon the port like 27017. This is the port where the my MongoDB is running. So you need to install the MongoDB software in your laptop, and then you can configure that. So let's me go with the employee. So I will create one employee database in the means basically this is the document, not the database, because we are working with the MongoDB. So here that is called document. So it will create the document. So it Spring automatically will read these configurations on the startup and automatically configure the data source for us. So let me create the domain class like the entity class. So I am taking the employee as entity class. So actually I am using this Lombok API, so I can write the annotations itself here to generating the constructor, setter, getter, and etc. So let me define the field first. Private string ID, private string first name, private string last name, private string email ID. These many fields I am going to take it. So this will be our primary value, and here I'm going to take @getter, @setter, no arguments, and all arguments, no arg constructor, all args constructor, and here I'm going to define as document, because in case of MongoDB it is document, and it will create the table for you, and in this one there is the value fields which will be defined the name of that particular type collection. What collection it is going to create, that collection name it will take it. So database name we have configured employee. So we can give any details here. So I want to give the any other value for the document. So I am giving this name as employee details. Let's give the name as employee details. If I am not giving, it will create the same. So creates this employee details documents as a table, because here the table concept is not there. So the document it will create. So let me create the repository interface. Okay. So let me create the repository interface. So I will be going to create the employee repository, and this interface basically extends the reactive CRUD of repository. Simply, in case of non-reactive, we have the CRUD repository. So here, reactive CRUD repository is there. So here we will pass the type of our entity class and the integer value. So here we have taken the string as integer value for the primary key, this one. So here we are taking a string, employee of entry string. So our repository class is ready. Sorry, interface is ready. So we can get the help of this repository for the further process. So let me see that, and then there is a mapper we have taken. So let me create the mapper class. So to map the data between DTO to entity and entity to DTO in the reverse order. So before of that, let me create one DTO class. So same DTO class, let me copy employee DTO. So let me copy the value from here in this employee DTO. Fine. And we can remove this information. This is not required. This is the value we will require here. And this one remove here. These annotations will come up here. Okay. I hope it is good. Okay. Fine. We are good. So our DTO is ready. Then I will create the mapper of to map this DTO to entity and reverse. So let me create one mapper class. Employee mapper. So here I'm going to take two static methods. So this will be map the entry to DTO and vice versa. So public static employee DTO map to employee DTO to employee class. Okay. So here I return new employee DTO of employee dot get ID. Then employee dot get first name. Employee dot get last name. Employee dot get email. This is done. simply return that DTO. And then in the same reverse order, I will go with the other method. So that is employee map to employee, and here employee DTO, employee DTO. Then the details will be here, employee, and here employee DTO dot get ID, employee DTO dot get first name, employee DTO dot get last name, employee DTO dot get email ID. Fine. Okay. Okay. So we are good. There is no any issue. Just I have refreshed this one. So we are good with the mapper class. Then I will need to create this service. So first let me create the employee service interface, and here I will define the mono details like all the methods. Mono of employee DTO, mono of employee DTO, save employee of employee DTO, employee DTO. Fine, one method is ready for the save. Next one is mono of employee DTO of get employee to get the all the employee, get employee. So here I need to get one employee with the help of mono. So let me write get employee of by ID, a string of employee ID, because we have used here mono. Now I wanted to get all the employees. So for that we can use flux of employee DTO, that is get all employees. Now I wanted to use, see, flux and mono both are coming from the publisher. Mono of employee DTO update employee for the update employee of employee DTO of employee DTO, and then I will provide the ID string employee ID to update the employee, and then to delete the employee, then delete employee, or simply we can return no void, because there is no need to return any value. Just delete the employee, delete employee by the ID string employee ID. So our service class, service interface is ready. We need to implement this to implementation class. So let me create one implementation class of it. Employee service IMPL. Which interface we need to add here? Employee service. Okay. So here, let me write one by one all the methods. let me delete this default one. Okay, so let me write the logics to save employee. So to make it as a service class, annotate this class with service, and here I'm going to take all arguments constructors. So it will take if there is any requirement for the constructors, so it will take the all arguments constructor. So here simply to save employee, let me create the object of employee. Employee is equal to employee is equal to mapper. Through mapper I'm going to do that. Employee mapper dot map to employee of employee DTO. Then mono of employee saved employee is equal to employee repository dot. Okay, so here we need to inject that repository class. So private employee repository of employee repository. So here employee repository dot save. There is the save method of employee. Correct. Then we will return this saved employee dot map method is there for the applying the mono dot map of employee entity or anything you can take it here. Employee entity of employee mapper dot map to DTO. Super. So this is our save method. So it will map that employee DTO to employee. Then next method is get employee. To get employee, we need to create mono of employee mono employee. This is get employee. So mono of employee mono is equal to employee mono is equal to repository employee repository dot. Actually, this is get employee. So employee repository dot find by ID. That employee ID. Employee ID. Okay. So here it is good. Employee get employee ID. Then simply return employee mono dot map of employee mapper. employee mapper dot map to DT. So our get employee method is ready. So we need to next one is get all employees. So here we need to write first we get all employees. So we need to create the flux of employee flux is equal to repository dot find all and then return flux dot map of employee type of employee it is employee map employee mapper dot map to DTO that employee. Then here let me bring it to the next line dot there is switch empty. If it is empty, switch if empty, then what we can do is flux dot empty. We can just return that flux dot empty if it is empty. If it is value, then it will return that employee list, all employee value, and if it is empty, then it will do like this. Now update employee. Update employee is like now it's to create the employee DTO. Simply here employee. So we have taken employee DTO find employee DTO. So here mono of mono of employee create the employee mono is equal to repository dot find by ID. First, it needs to check whether the value of that particular ID is available or not. If it is, then only it needs to update that. So let me do that. Now we need to return that mono employee mono dot flat map. We are doing the flat mapping here for the existing employee. Existing employee. If it is there, so here, so existing employee dot set first name. Let me set first name. Set first name is equal to employee DTO dot get first name. Similarly, we need to set the other field. Employee existing employee dot set last name. Here employee DTO dot get last name. Here employee existing employee dot set email is equal to employee DTO dot get email. Perfect. So we are doing the flat mapping. Flat mapping here it is for the value to set it. Then here I will return the employee repository dot save of that particular existing employee. Then we will need to do here it is map for employee here employee mapper dot map to DTO of employee. This is the what we wanted to use. Now last delete one is very simple. Return employee repository dot delete by ID of that employee ID. Our service class is ready. Then we can go with the controller class. Let me create one controller class. Employee controller. So make it as controller at the rest controller. So here let me make the request mapping. So request mapping slash API slash employee. Take it as global URI. Now we need to create the one by one all the methods. So let me inject the service class employee service. Basically we need to take it as interface. So employee service interface service. So we have injected it. So let me create the one by one method for all the value, like public mono employee DTO save employee to save the employee. So here save employee. So save employee, that means we need to pass this as the request body. So at the request body, what we need to pass as employee DTO of employee DTO. Then we need to call simply return the service dot save employee DTO. That's it. By which method we are going to call this? To call the same method. Same method is calling for the post call. So at the post mapping slash save to save the record. I wanted to get the response as the different response status. So response status, I wanted to provide the value as here. I wanted to give the HTTP status HTTP status dot created. Fine. So I wanted to return 201 status code. Next is to get the employee public mono employee DTO get employee this one. So here I'm going to use the path variable to pass the value. Path variable ID to get the employee based on the employee ID. So here return service dot get employee based on employee ID. This call will be get call only. at the rate get mapping here ID based on the ID. I wanted to get all the records of the employees. So public flux of employee DTO of get all employees. So here return service dot get all employees simply. So this will be the get call. So at the rate get mapping. I do not want to give any URI for this particular method. We can access this URI, then we will get all the list of the employees itself. So let me create one more method for the put operations for the update. Mono of employee DTO update employee. So here I need to pass request body employee DTO and then add the path variable. So path variable ID to update the string employee ID. Then simply return service dot update employee based on the employee DTO. This is the value request body and this is the employee ID. And this will be the put method, put mapping. So slash, not slash, actually we are updating based on the ID with this root API, root API call. So this will be pick up that value as well based on this method type. So this is put method. And then last one is delete. So public mono of void delete employee. So based on the ID. So here path variable ID string employee ID. Simply return service dot delete employee based on employee, and here the method type is delete mapping slash based on the ID only, so not required to slash. So this is the path variable we are using. So delete mapping ID, and I wanted to get the response as a no content if there is no any content with that particular value. So response status value is equal to http status dot no content. I just wanted to change the status. So let's see how we are going to do this. So further, okay, so now it will create the employee as database and your document will be employee details within that database. So let's see the console for the MongoDB. So once after installations of the MongoDB, if you open your MongoDB Compass, so it will open like that. So actually in my laptop there is lots of database I have created like student test, student local config, etc. So there will be EMS like that. So it will create one more database here, and then within that database, like this one, it will be one document, like this is the documents as the employee details. This will be the document. So let's run this project and see the output. So I have changed the port number because there is a conflict in my application. So 8080 Oracle is already running. So I have changed the port here. So our application has been started on 8081. So now we need to hit the endpoint basically. So let me hit the endpoint to save the record. So let me see API employee save. So let me hit the endpoint from here. So I have created one collection in the in this Postman tool. This is the post call localhost 8080 8081 and API employee that save. This is the post call body. I need to pass the body. So ID it will be automatically created by the document from the Mongo database. If you will pass the ID, let me pass first and then we will see. If you will pass the ID value, it will take that ID value and create the result response as per that one. Or if you will not pass this ID, it will generally automatically take the document ID. Let's see first by passing the ID, then we will see that. If you will hit this save, so it will save your result. See the status output is we are getting that response 201 created, and this is our details 101 Java talent and Java talent at the gmail.com. So this is the details. So let's see the database whether this has been created or not. So employee it is not there. So let's refresh, reload data. See now employee database has come and there is the employee details document. If you will click this document, you will see this one. See ID we have given 101. For that it has been created 101 Java talent at the gmail.com, and then this is the class. It is the by default. This is not the so if you see the actual value, see uh, this is the field ID string field, first name, last name, email, and class string. It is automatically populated. So if you see, so there is the some tools like there is one tool which is robot 3T tools is there. So you can use that tools. So that will be better output. This will that will give you the better understanding of this result. Okay. So now let's see one more hit, one more save record. So this time I'm not going to pass this ID. This time I'm just passing this simply first name. Let's see Ram and then Kumar. So email ID of Ram will be ram@gmail.com. So let's see what it will be taking. See, it is automatically populating that ID and see the database. Not this one. This is the one. Ram Kumar ram@gmail.com, and then it is object ID. Basically, we have given three this field, but ID it is automatically picking up. If you will not pass the ID, also it will create the object ID. See, this is the ID, and then let's send the get request. So let's create one more duplicate request here. Make it a duplicate, and then get call, and here just this slash. Remove this body. None. Send it. How many record is there? That will be coming up. Two record is there. This will be coming up. This request you can get it from the browser also, because this is the get request. So there is the two document which is coming. So let's add one more value. Just send this post call Ravi Singh Ravi@gmail.com. So it has been created. So if you get it, three documents will be created. Okay. So one method is work. Two methods we have tested it out. One is save and one is this one because we have not given any URI. Now let's see for the ID value. So let's hit one more request. So let me rename it get by ID. So this is get call basically, and here no parameter is fine, and here 101 for example there is the 101 ID is there. Let it. See, we are getting this one as the result, and there is this ID we have created. So if you give this string, it will take that Ravi. So we are good with this get by ID, and this is the save call, post call, and not this one is the save call. Save call is this one, and this one is get all imply, get all em. So now test it with put call. So let me make it as duplicate. This time I'm going to make this as put call. So put call is what we have given. This simply ID, the ID which we wanted to update. So let's pick up 101. We have given 101 and put body. What is the details for 101? 101. Take it. Go there. Paste it. 101. I wanted to change the email ID. For example, Java Talent 101 Java Talent @12 @gmail.com. Let it see success response we are getting. So this is also working. So let me delete that one ID. One more ID there. No? So let me delete that one. So this I'm going to do it as delete. By here I need to not need to pass any body, and here definitely I will need to pass the. Let me delete this Ravi. Take this ID. Go there. Provide the value. Hit the end. See, no content because we have set this response body, response status. Fine, and that has been gone. See, make a get call. There is the three document. Ravi was not there. Let's hit it. Ravi is not there, and see the database. This is the earlier one. Let it be replace. Refresh first. Reload data. See, Java talent and the RAM is there. Ravi has gone. So this is the what we wanted to cover it today. So please subscribe my channel and like my video for the further updates. Thank you.